I'm sure if you've been watching these videos each week, you notice that quite a few of them we film right here in my office. I love my office in my house. I just, you know what I'm saying? I spend so much time in here that we really went out. My wife helped me decorate it, and it's just really awesome. I just love being in here. It feels good. I'm really excited when I work. Got my massive Mac screen, you know, for my computer, just all kinds of fun stuff. But obviously behind me you have lots and lots and lots of books, and some of them are for pleasure reading, but a lot of them are for business. I also have some bottles of alcohol here. Hopefully you don't get the impression I'm a massive alcoholic because of the number of bottles there, but these were just actually gifts from good friends. Bottle of Opus 1, bottle of Crown Extra Rare. You know, this is one of the props that we use in our View from the Edge. It's an authentic replica of the helmet from Gladiator. So we got all kinds of stuff, but I want to talk to you. People are always going, well, Mark, what books do you recommend? And I mean, you can see I've got bunches and I could recommend many, but I just picked a few out that I'll share with you right now. If we go over to this far end here, this is sort of like my current books that I'm in the midst of reading. I like to read 2-3 chapters and then start another one. I just got so many of them. This one's called The Mirror Test by Jeffery Hazlett. Jeffery was the CMO at Kodak, and when he totally turned that company around where they were virtually out of business. Really awesome book. I've gotten a chance to meet Jeffery on numerous occasions at a networking group that I'm a part of called Sang, and he's just a really dynamic business person, real straight to the point, no fluff. Great for anyone who's involved in the marketing world. Really good stuff. The book Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. He's become one of the hottest authors going. This is the online guy. This is if you want to make money online. He has an amazing story on how he was just doing a video blog with a little flip camera, and he did hundreds of them that virtually nobody was watching, but he just kept going, kept going. Eventually he caught on, he got an audience, and now he is in demand. Some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the world are bringing him in to teach concepts that he has in this book, Crush It. Gary's actually authored a couple other books, but that one's the first one. It's awesome. The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey Jr. Great book for business. Unbelievable. Basically talking about the trust, especially in this day and age when so many people don't trust corporate executives. But if you have trust between you and your clients, how it just takes your profit margin and accelerates it and multiplies it dramatically. Lots of great practical stuff in here. Unbelievably good book. Oh, I love this one. The Influencer. This one to me is great because I'm always trying to influence people. It got, you know, obviously a lot to do with persuasion. But this is, you can see, I like to mark my books up. And I do have a bunch of them on my iPad as well that I read. But I still like good old-fashioned books because I love to make notes and underline them and go back and read through them. But this is basically some clinical psychologists really studying several case studies and showing how you can have major influence on people based on some factors. It's not a light read by any means, but it's really, really powerful stuff. The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, pretty famous book. Pretty much anything Malcolm Gladwell is writing these days, people are reading. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, great stuff. Live in the now, don't get caught up living in the past. The Power of Full Engagement. CEO for World Ventures, Mike Asquith, turned me on to this book, a good friend of mine. Great stuff. More or less saying it doesn't matter how many hours you're working. What matters is how much energy you're putting into those hours. Are you working with full engagement? Because you can get a lot more done in a lot less time. I picked a couple others over here. These are old favorites of mine. The Greatest Salesman in the World by Mandino. And then The Greatest Miracle in the World. Now this one is definitely a spiritual book, so I'll just tell you that one up front. If you're not spiritual, you don't want to read it, maybe you should read it then. But these are both just powerful. As far as creating great habits in your life, The Greatest Salesman in the World, even if you're not a salesperson, powerful, amazing book. And you can see these are both these kind of books where you can read the whole thing pretty much in one setting. Another one that's kind of spiritually based, to say the least, The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. Talking about King Solomon and living based upon biblical principles. Really, really, really great stuff there. An original copy, I think it's an original copy, of Think and Grow Rich. Now, of course, for many people, this is our you know, our financial or our success Bible, not the Bible, but, you know, really amazing principles in here. If you haven't read this one, I would put this at the top of the list. If you have read it, I'd recommend rereading it. The Alchemist has become one of my absolute favorites. This is just, it's like the greatest salesman in the world. It's a story, but it's a story with a point. So they're really easy to read because it's not bullet points and details. Just a really cool story about a young man and how he finally finds his purpose in life. And when he does, how everything in the universe conspires to bring him to where he's supposed to be. I'm telling you, great book. One of my all-time favorites. And I've got Life Strategies here by Dr. Phil. I like Dr. Phil. I'm not wild about Dr. Phil. When he's telling us how to lose weight, sometimes I question that one. No disrespect to him, but what I love about this book is it's before he was on TV, before he became famous, and he used to be a strategist for people going to court, and where he really became famous was working with Oprah Winfrey when the beef folks were suing her for everything she had. And I love the second chapter of this book. It's called You Either Get It or You Don't. So many times when you're working with other people and you're trying to build a successful organization, they either get it or they don't. If people don't see your vision, they don't see your vision. You remember those 3D fuzzy pictures where you used to look at them, and if you looked at them a certain way, out of all that craziness and whatever chaos, there was an image there. Either it was a sailboat or whatever. Well, I used to look at those all the time and I just didn't see them. And people were going, are you sure? You gotta look, it's right there, don't you see it? And I was like, I don't see it. Either you see it or you don't. If someone doesn't see your vision, you are wasting your time working with someone who doesn't get it. So I love people that are direct and to the point. That's why I love Jeffery Hazlett's book. That's why I love the Crush It book by Gary Vaynerchuk. That's my kind of author, someone who cuts out all the fluff and gets directly to the point. So those are books that I would recommend to you. There are many more. We'll do a couple more shows like this as the time unfolds to give you the next round of really great books. But I just share this with you. You should constantly be reading great stuff. If it's only 15 or 20 minutes every day, but always infuse your mind with positive information, because your mind is like your muscle. If you just rest your muscles and you don't use them, what happens? They atrophy. They go down to virtually nothing. That's what happens if you get your muscle in a cast, right? On the other hand, if you use them over and over again, you lift weights, you actually tear muscle fibers. No pain, no gain. When's the last time most people exercise their mind? If you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm just sharing with you, big thing. Don't get to a place ever where you think you know everything. I know that I know a lot, but I know there's far more that I don't know than I'll ever know. So this is just a constant, lifelong process of getting book after book. If you have books that you love, please email me. Send them to me, post them on my Facebook wall, because I'm always looking for the next great book. I love filling my mind. I love using the muscle. I love reaching as much of my capacity as I possibly can, and this is a great way to do it. So that's just for all the folks who've been requesting this. Those are some great books, and we'll get you some more next time on Edutainment Weekly.